I, Dr. Von Crazy, shall show you, dear viewer, how to glean the ultimate power out of Fischl, the Prinzessin der Verurteilung. What mein Fräulein means is, this is how you use Fischl in Genshin Impact. Thanks, Oz. Fischl's talents. Her normal attack, Bolts of Downfall, with her... with incredible skill only granted to the greatest archers, she fires 5 arrows in rapid succession. With her C1, she also gains this orb that fires its own arrows whenever she deals any damage, but it has a pretty long cooldown on actually firing, so it's not that much of a damage bonus. Her charged attack gathers the infinite energy of the Immanoctrike to imbue her arrow with electro energy, and fires it at the enemy. However, her normal attack is just better, so use that. You can also hit Oz with this charged attack arrow to have him emit an AoE explosion of electro energy, but it's not that useful because the AoE is pretty darn small. Her second skill, Knight Rider, summons Oz through the ether, using her infinite power, and so much power explodes from her to deal extra electro damage to nearby enemies when summoned. Oz himself fires small electro particles that deal small damage to the enemy and don't have any AoE. However, they deal damage so quickly and generate 0.6 energy per hit, making Fischl the absolute best electro battery in the game until Raiden Shogun was released. Her third talent, Midnight Phantasmagoria, cloaks her in the power of Immanoctrike, and summons Oz around her to run around the battlefield and deal electro damage to enemies she runs into. And after it's done, it also summons Oz, meaning you have Oz on the field again. Meaning that since Oz stays on the field for 10 seconds, you have almost 100% uptime with just Knight Rider and 1 Midnight Phantasmagoria. And since she's such a good battery, you'll usually be able to recharge Midnight Phantasmagoria before a second Knight Rider is done. Plus, her C6 increases Oz's duration by 2 seconds, making you able to have 100% uptime, since Midnight Phantasmagoria lasts 2 seconds, and then it summons a 12-second Oz. That all adds up to 26 seconds, which is 1 second more than Knight Rider's cooldown. You do have to be pretty focused to actually pull this off, but it is very strong when you do it. For artifacts, you want Thundering Fury. That electro damage is powerful, plus he usually activates elemental reactions, and I mean, you're gonna get overloaded electro charged and super conduct all the time. Plus it reduces her elemental skill cooldown by 1 second, meaning you can have 100% uptime without even having her C6. For substats, go for attack. For main stats, go for attack. For substats, try to find crit effects and energy recharge. Especially if you don't have her C6 and can't do the 100% uptime Fischl Midnight Phantasmagoria strats. As for weapons, Skyward Harp is strong and it's the one I've got, so I'm using it, but her best in slot is the Elegy for the End. Other good weapons on her are the Stringless. Elemental Mastery is good on her because she's the one usually triggering elemental reactions, and increasing her elemental skill damage by 48% is very strong because her elemental skill is her best talent by far. Windbloom Ode is similarly good, although it's just a weaker version of the Stringless. But it's free to play, so it's probably the one you have. The Rust is also a viable option. That attack percent is fairly strong, plus he likes using her rapid fire attack. You might think that the Sacrificial Bow would be good because it has energy recharge already on it, but he doesn't care about getting that cooldown reduction because she already has 100% uptime with just her elemental skill. it's not really worth the effort to put a sacrificial bow on her, just use something better. As for a team, almost anyone works pretty well with Fischl. You could use Klee, get those overloads, Yanfei, overloads. You could use Child for electrocharged if you're going against normal enemies, although it's not so useful against bosses. But I do want to draw special attention to Eula. I don't have her, but with Fischl, that's the best superconduct combo in the game. I unfortunately will not be showing this off in my practical demonstration because I don't have a good physical build on any of my cryo characters. But if you happen to have Eula, you can go ham with her superconduct. While you might think that Oz synergizes practically perfectly with Albedo's flower, it's actually not that great. It fires at the wrong rate, meaning that it hits the enemy before the flower's transient blossoms have a chance to cool down. Meaning you'll only get one transient blossom every 2 hits. And that's not so impressive. You should definitely be bringing more damage if you want to use Albedo on the team, so bring like Hu Tao or something. And with that, that's everything I have to say about Fischl, so let's move on to the practical demonstration. First off, we've got Geostasis. Fischl is mainly used as a sub-DPS off-field, so that's where I'm putting her for most of these battles. I'm going to put her in front for a couple battles, but not many, and you'll see why. Yeah, I just took all my health worth of damage. Her defensive sets are not worth putting her on the field, especially since her actual arrows don't do all that much. You should really just use someone else. I got that pillar down a bit too late and took a bunch of damage on Klee too. And here, I got hit by the goddamn pillar, which means I don't get to one-cycle these pillars, unfortunately. I was close, too. I did mess up, but I was pretty close nonetheless. I was 1 hit off. If I hadn't gotten hit by that pillar, I would have gotten it. Luckily, Gimmel doesn't have much health, and you can just summon Oz, throw a single bomb, and get rid of that pillar. And let's move on to the next fight, Mechanical Array, the boss I always forget exists because I've never had to grind it for a character. Does it actually have any characters right now that you use Mechanical Array items for? I didn't actually check. I don't care enough. I ran away here because I thought it was going into its protected state and summoning things. That's how little I know this boss. I've fought it once before this fight. Oh no, there was that event, so I've fought it like 5 times before this fight, which is still not very many. I was trying to use a superconduct strategy, get superconduct on it, and then hit it with those physical normal attack arrows, but it really wasn't doing enough damage, so I just put Klee in. And Fischl is back to being the sub-DPS he usually is. That'll stun my Mechanical Array. Now I can summon a new Oz, start shooting it, superconduct, try to get some nice damage in. I'm getting 2,000 on a critical, which is not impressive. Goes back into its protected state, sucks up its boys, and it's about to die. Yep, that's enough. It dies as soon as it hits the ground. Next up, Magukenki. I don't need Klee, but I do need Yongli to finish this fight. So Fischl is going to be sub-DPSing for my Raiden Shogun, which doesn't have as crappy as a build as my Child, but it's still pretty bad. I only made sure she had the good main stats. I didn't really care about sub-stats for her.
Solidify.
Just make sure that shield is up. Grab some energy from Bennett. Summon new Oz. Don't care about the damage it's dealing to you because I have Zhongli in the party.
Gather.
Inazuma shines eternal.
And just hit it with a lot of Raiden Shogun attacks.
Stabilize. Order guide you.
And maybe a few Order Guide use.
Everybody stand back! Shadow Raven, let night fall!
It actually managed to break Zhongli's shield there.
Solidify.
Off we go! Illusion shattered! By royal now!
And we're about done here. Summon Oz, switch Raiden into angry form, and defeat the Megu Tenki. And finally, let's go against the Hydrostasis. I've switched Dione into the front of the party again, but this time it's really just because he's a good shield, and also because Cryo is good against Hydra. Of course, Electro is also good against Hydro, and that's why I chose to have Fischl fight the Hydrostasis.
No rest for the wicked.
We can just have Oz shoot that once because I didn't realize his cooldown was low. Whoops.
Illusion shattered.
And let's summon the... Oh,
decree.
no, let's not summon the things yet.
No rest for the wicked. Mein Fräulein, should you
Yeah, I
fall?
got hit by that. Don't worry about it. And now we summon the Hydro Slimes that heal it. They're a bit annoying to deal with for my build, so I only managed to get 2 of them.
Adventure time. Torn to oblivion.
Especially since Raiden just didn't want to deal a lot of damage to them.
Going in.
I tried to finish it off with that, but it just was a bit too slow, unfortunately. Luckily, this will only take 1 round, just like the Geostasis. Unlike the Geostasis, I couldn't find the slime for a minute or so here. There it is.
Illusion shattered. Midnight Phantasmagoria.
And that'll finish it off. All in all, Fischl is an excellent battery and sub-DPS. If you have a use for an Electro character, this is the one to use. She's not nearly as rare as Raiden, so you might have her, actually. She generates a ton of energy, and she deals plenty of damage. She fits into basically any team, so just if you have a team slot that you aren't really feeling right now, try Fischl there and see what happens. I'm sure you won't be disappointed. And if you liked the content or you learned something, make sure to leave a comment, like, and subscribe. And if you didn't like it, leave a dislike. And I'll see you in my next guide.